So now we're getting on to the next part of the De La Riva system. And what is in this part of the system? This is now how we're going to expose another opportunity to sweep or take the back. This is going to be the knee torque part of the system. And why is this so relevant? How I've been building you guys up from the foundation of De La Riva to now is so important because I'm manipulating my opponent's base always over and over, right? Sometimes their weight's on their feet, sometimes their weight's on their knees, sometimes we've been putting their weight on their arms. So now what you're going to learn to do is you're going to learn what to do off of me trying to flip my opponent. And why is this going to happen? My opponent, when I'm doing the Tomoe-nage overhead, has one option to defend the Tomoe-nage overhead. That is putting their weight on their butt. That is doing this motion here. Because when they're getting flipped, the only way they can defend is sitting back on their butt. But you're going to learn something now. What are you going to learn? Whenever I sit my weight on my butt, look how easy it is to internally rotate my hip. Because I take all the pressure off of my foot. For me to open, look how like I'm strong here. But when I take all my weight off my butt, look how this part of my leg has no weight on it. Because all the weight's on the butt. So once the weight's all on the butt, this part of the leg is super easy to manipulate. And you'll see me in competition utilize this concept so much when I'm fighting. I did this a lot with Bruno Malfacini. I did this a lot in many matches. And I always pull forward. I make them put their weight on their butt. The second they put their weight on their butt, now this part of the leg is so weak because all their weight is sitting back. So now you're going to learn how once we're able to manipulate their foot in, aka internally rotating their hip, I'm able to create an angle on their body instead of being square with my opponent. So all the material you learned so far has been me staying square with my opponent. Now you're going to learn how creating angles will enable me to take their back. And remember, how important is it to make angles on your opponent? It's so important because every time you make an angle, you're able to make the person's base, their balance, their frames offset. So lay down, please. So look, if she's framing me like this, just frame my body. If I go into it, remember I can't go into it, right? But if I do this, look. Why can I pass now? I made an angle on her frame. I made an angle on her body. So in guard, I'm doing the same thing. Go on your knees, please, in guard. If I'm in guard and I'm square with my opponent is strong like this, or just anything here. If I make an angle like this on my opponent, look how their base is offset because I'm not in front of them anymore. Their walls, their frames, they want to be in front of me because then they have full frames. If I'm ever on the side of my opponent, look how much weaker their frames and wall is because their body is not facing me. They need to be facing me to have their full force and weight on me, right? Every time they're not facing us, they lose their weight on us. They don't have as much pressure. They don't have their frames. And imagine, if I can make this angle, what else does that mean? I can misalign their spine with their body. And what does that mean when we can misalign their spine with their body? That means that their balance is compromised. And what did we learn in the rules of balance? Every time we could misalign their spine, we compromise their balance. Once we compromise their balance, what does that mean? We destroyed their fort. Their frames fall once their balance falls. It has to. There's no way around it. They can't keep balanced. They can't lose their balance and keep their frames. So once we manipulate their balance off of their frames, we're able to make their balance fall. And we're able to kill all their frames. That is why we're changing angles. Changing angles is an amazing option for us to destroy our opponent's frames. Because, like I said, in front of us, she might be very strong with her frames. But once I angle my body and I keep her body this way, her frames are now very weak. She has way less weight on my body. So you'll see me constantly when I'm doing all these positions, making these angles. Because a lot of percentage of her weight falls off of her when she's in this angle. Her spine's misaligned, we're able to attack the person, okay? So what do I mean? Stand up, please. So I'm going to get here in De La Riva. I'm going to be here. I'm going to have the collar. I'm going to have the leg here. I'm going to go to flip her like before, like this. So for her to defend this flip, look, now she's sitting her weight on her butt, right? Because her weight's on her butt, keep your weight on your butt. What does that mean? That means this part of her leg is very weak, the lower part of her leg. So I'm going to manipulate her by changing an angle. I'm going to keep my foot on the ASIS. I'm going to stretch her leg and angle my body like this. Look what just happened to her foot. Now her foot is facing that way. And what did we just learn in Jiu-Jitsu? Every time her foot's this way, her body has to face that way. Whichever direction the foot faces, her body has to face. Okay? That is why her head is now faced that way. So for her to face me, she has to square up with me. But now her spine's the wrong way as her body. I'm facing her hip. This is what's in front of me now. She's facing that way. You see? So that is why I'm able to have such a strong effect on her body now. Once the weight goes to her butt, this part of her leg is weak. Once we feel it's weak, we're just doing this. We're pulling down, keep your weight on your butt. I'm pulling her weight more to her butt. I'm pushing down, and I'm trapping her foot down here. You see, this is what I'm doing. So when I'm here, and I try to flip her, she's keeping her weight on her butt. I just stretch my leg. I use my hand on her ankle to turn it like so. Because her leg is very weak. I stretch my ASIS, I turn my De La Riva in, like so. I stretch. Now look where I end up. Look where I end up. My De La Riva is in, I'm on my side. And I want you to see something. Look at my elbow here. My elbow is on the mat right now. Every time I can place my elbow on the mat, it's very good because I can keep my head close to my knee. I can pull her into me. I have a lot of balance here. I'm just posting on my elbow. And look what right in front of me. Her hip right here. So I want you guys to start seeing how once we can make this anchor, not only are we able to back our hips up, we're able to angle change our body. Because once the anchor is on her butt, her leg is weak. That's all we're doing, you see. And we're just playing with her base and balance. That's all we're doing in De La Riva or any guard in Jiu-Jitsu. We're constantly just playing with their balance and base. Every time their weight is somewhere, we take advantage of something. Every time their weight is another place, we take advantage of something. And by us understanding where their weight is on their body will enable us to take advantage of these spots. That is all we're doing when we're doing these positions, right? So when I'm here, if I can, I'll grab and I'll flip. You see? And I really want to make the person feel like I'm going to flip them because I want to flip them. So the more I go like I'm going to flip, the more they have to anchor their weight on their butt. They have to. That's the only way they could stay up here. So when I'm here, and I try to make her, you see, now I can't. You see how much she has to sit so I can't flip her? Look. Now look what I can do. I'm just going to keep this grip. I'm going to turn it in. I'm going to stretch her leg. I'm going to end up on this side of her body. You see? And look how I do this motion. I just stretch and go on my elbow. I just stretch and go on my elbow. The detail is how I'm holding this part of her ankle with this hand. Look how when I'm holding the ankle, I turn it in. I'm on the skin and I turn it in as I stretch. Because as I do that, it turns her foot. So I go to flip. She puts her weight on her butt. Now look, I stretch and I turn her ankle. You see? Now look where I am. I'm still holding the collar. I'm still here. Now I could grab the hip grip. Right? But I'm going to explain that in a second. I just need you to understand how I'm changing angles. Okay, so a lot of people when they're playing De La Riva, they'll grab the hip grip. They won't know where to grab. They'll try doing all these different things. We're grabbing the hip grip right in front of us because that's where we are in De La Riva. We're facing the hip grip. If I'm facing the hip grip here, why would I grab the belt over here? Now square up with me. I'm pulling the wrong part of her body in front of me when she's angled in there. So if she's facing me and I grab the belt, that's one thing because that's what's in front of me. When her hip is this way, this is what's in front of me, the hip grip. You see? So that is why I'm doing this. That is why I'm grabbing the hip grip on the side because that's what's in front of me. I always grab what's in front of me. You see? So you'll see a lot of people when they play De La Riva and stay square with me. They'll try to do this. And now look how she can step over and put pressure on me. Because that's not in front of me. I always grab what's in front of me. But you'll see a lot of people make that mistake and grab angling their self on their body. And what am I doing? I'm misaligning my own spine. So when I misalign, stay square please. when I misalign my own spine, here, look at this. Look how weak I am because I have no strength once I misalign my spine. Opposed to when I'm here and now try to do anything on me. She can't because I'm square with myself. You see that concept of being square? Always being like this because your spine is not misaligned. If I go like this, look at my back and my arm. My spine is misaligned if I grab like this. So you could only grab what's in front of you always because you need your spine aligned with your body. It's so important, guys. You know, I see this so much, and I really have to stress this to you that you have to grab what's in front of you. Never reach to the side because look at my spine. Look at my spine and my body. My body is going to be significantly weaker now because my body is misaligned with my spine. Okay? So, I'm here. Della Hiva. Weights on her arms, I'm going to flip. See, it's even hard for her to stop me from flipping her. So then she has to put all her weight down. And I want her to feel that. You see, I'm trying to flip. I want her to feel that she can't. So I grab the ankle grip here. I lift up, I stretch. Look what I just did. Go back. I lift up, I can take her foot off the floor even, look. Because the more weight I put on her hip, the more I can alter her ankle in. And ideally, I want to trap her foot under my butt. Because once I chop her foot under my butt, what does that mean? That means her foot is stuck this way. So every time she faces me, her spine is misaligned. And if her spine is misaligned, what does that mean about her base? It's gone, you see? That is what I'm doing. But do you notice something? It's identical to the concept on top and bottom. That is why when I'm here, if I grab over here, look how bad this is. Because my spine is misaligned now. My rules of balance and misalignment of the spine is being used against me because I'm grabbing like this. That further proves how guard and passing are identical in concepts. You see? So understanding that on top will make you understand on bottom why that's wrong to grab what's not in front of you, okay? We only grab that side hip if we're facing that side hip. Please understand that. So we're here. I'm here. I go to flip. She's sitting here. I'm going to lift up her ankle a little bit, putting her weight on her knee. I'm going to stretch and chop her foot. Once I chop this foot, look how her foot is faced that way. Face me now. Look at her knee. Look how her knee is torquing now because her foot is faced the other way. This is what I need you guys to master. Chopping feet, chopping the legs, so now she's stuck facing the other way, you see. So I'm here. I go to flip. I can't, so I just lift up the ankle and I turn her body. I end up right here. I go on my elbow, right? Now I'm in the spot to begin attacking. So what am I going to do? I'm going to let go of the collar because her foot is stuck. I'm going to grab the hip grip, but a very particular spot on the hip. So in the first part of the Berimbolo system, I do a deep discussion on soft tissue versus bone. Every time I grab the collar grip, I explain multiple times, we grab on the collarbone, correct? If I grab any other place, she can lean into me. You see, I have no frame on her body. Being on a bone gives us a frame, so we're playing guard. Whenever I grab the side hip grip, please understand this, I grab a particular bone on her body. Right on this bone, it's called the ASIS, the anterior superior iliac spine. That is the exact term for it. And this bone is identical to a collar grip. If she puts weight into me, she can't because it's an exact bone. So when you grab the hip grip, I want you to see it as identical to grabbing a collar grip. Both you're grabbing a bone to frame. Again, a huge thing in jiu-jitsu you'll see that many people do wrong here. They'll grab soft tissue and then she's able to put weight in me. And you'll see people get their guard pass all the time. Lay down. So you're here, get a hip grip on me. Yeah, grab anywhere here. Yes. So now my bone is free, ready? Look how I can bring my bone forward. Look how I can bring my bone forward. Look. You see how I'm able to come forward now? Because she's not on the bone on my body. So there's no frame stopping me from coming forward. That is why it's so important you grab the bone. If she's here and she grabs the bone right on my body, now I'm going to try to come forward. I'm going to try to come forward. Look. I literally can't. Look. It's a wall. I cannot come forward. So now she's able to play guard on my lower part of my body like she's playing on my upper body. And it's crazy because so many people say to me, oh, I feel so weak when I grab the hip. I feel so weak when I grab the hip. Because they don't know how to frame the body there. They're grabbing soft tissue. And you do feel weak if you're grabbing soft tissue because you have no frame. And if you have no frame, what does that mean? Your fort is compromised. Your fort is weak. And every time your fort's weak, I can expose it. So she's here. No, don't grab the right spot. Grab the here. Yeah. She's here. Look, Alex, she has no frame on my body. All these things could happen because there's nothing stopping me from doing that. So always when we're there, we're grabbing the ASIS right on that bone. And that's what's going to teach you how to play guard with the hip grip. It's identical to playing guard with the collar grip. Identical. You have a bone that you're connected to and you're framing with. You're either pulling it, pushing it, you're doing so many things, but it's a collar grip. It's identical. We're playing with the collar grip when we're holding the hip. That is why we're doing this like this, right? And again, what is the rule? You're only allowed to grab that hip grip on the side if you're actually facing the side to grab. You can't grab the side hip grip if your spine is misaligned. If you do, you're misaligning your own spine and you're breaking your own concept on bottom from top. You're breaking the concept, right? Which means that you'll be weak there and you're not holding the soft tissue. And you're not holding the bone. If you're not holding the ASIS and your spine is misaligned, you're doing two things wrong now. And we constantly see this in jiu-jitsu. You'll see over and over people making this mistake, okay? So stand up, please. So what are the rules now? We're gonna try to flip her. She's gonna put her weight on her butt. The second she puts her weight on her butt, I'm gonna keep the ankle grip on her, torquing her knee in. I'm gonna lift it up a little bit. I'm gonna push it in, stretching. Sit up on my elbow, trapping her foot under my butt. The motion is like this. I'm here, I go to flip. She puts her weight on her butt. I bring her leg up, I bring my knees to my chest. I just stretch. 1. I bring her knees up, I try to flip. I bring my knees to my chest, look. Knees to chest, I lift her ankle off the floor. 2. I go to flip, I can't. I bring my knees to my chest. I keep my hand on this ankle. I stretch my arm, and now I'm just gonna stretch my body, look. 3. 4. 5. So you see how easy it is? Look, I can flip her right now. She has to defend. Don't you feel it's impossible for you to stop the knee torque if you defend the flip?
Yeah, I can't at all.
But you'll see, when you're drilling this, please don't make this mistake. Don't not go for the flip. You really have to go for the flip. That's what makes her put her weight on her butt. Because if I don't, you're going to keep your weight on your arms, right? So if I don't go for the flip, and I just stay here, which I should be able to flip, so keep your weight for the flip. Keep your weight, yeah. Now I'm going to try to torque your knee in. See, I can't move her. The second I do this and I start flipping, she has to defend. Defend. Now look. I end up here. You see how I'm able to perfectly position her foot every time. All I do is lift up the ankle, I stretch. Chopping her foot under my body. Now we're in De La Riva on this side. So again, square. Let's change sides so they can see my foot. So we're here. I go here. Knees to chest. I try to flip. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. I end up on my side with her foot chopped. Now I'm going to let go of the collar grip. I'm going to switch to the ASIS on her hip. So now come into me. There's nowhere she could come into me here. You see, because I have the ASIS, so I have a perfect frame on her body. Now I'm playing like I am with a collar grip. So now what are we going to do here? So now to my other side. What we're going to do is, I'm going to show you how to sweep the opponent here. So I'm going to give my opponent a dilemma. I'm going to show you in the next clip what the opponent defends this. But right now we're going to get to this spot and we're going to be able to use it, okay? So, again, we're going to go here, we're going to do the drill. I'm going to go to flip, look. This time I was able to flip her, right? I try to flip, she sits back. 1, 2. I get perfectly to this spot here. Her foot's trapped. I'm going to go to the ASIS. Right on her hip like so. The second I get here, what am I going to do? I'm going to pull her shoulder, I'm going to pull her hip to me. I said shoulder because I feel like I'm playing with the shoulder now. I pull her hip to me. I'm going to remove my foot now from the ASIS, I'm gonna put it right on her stomach like so. Try to leg drag this leg. She can't now because of this hip grip. You see how this protects me? So there's no way I could get leg dragged here. So I'm safe to put my foot on her stomach like so. I'm gonna pull it forward, bringing her knee to me a little bit. Now I'm gonna stretch to bring her body down. So I want you guys to notice something. Come back, stand up please. When I'm here in De La Riva regular, when I do the regular side sweep, face me please. When I was here, and I straightened her arm and I punched her shoulder. What did I just do with her shoulder? I brought it to me, right? Bending her shoulder forward, and then I swept her. I'm doing the same thing on the hip. It's just the hip it's acting like the shoulder. It's identical. So when I have the shoulder here, and I stretch and I put pressure on her shoulder down, I kill her post on my body, right? So go on my leg, please. I think it's easier for them to see. When I go like this, I pull her shoulder down, breaking her post. Then I punch it. When I have the hip grip, look what I do. So I go to flip. I turn, I get here. I get the hip grip. Look what I do. I don't just punch. I pull it to me. Look how I'm pulling the hip to me. I'm looking at this hip, and I'm thinking that it's coming to my face. It's coming to my face. Look. Now, what am I going to do? I'm going to keep my hand on the bone. I'm going to move my foot to the stomach here, and now I'm going to punch the hip to make her fall down here. Okay, so again, I'm here. I get to this spot here. So I'm punching the hip. I'm going to pull the hip to me. Once I pull the hip to me, I'm going to put my foot here, and now I'm going to punch the hip to make her fall down right here. You see? Now I have her hip down and I have a hip grip on her body. This hip grip on the body is going to give us so many more options and attacks, which I'm going to explain after. But this is bearable heaven, right? We have the hip grip, her butt's on the floor. This is bearable heaven. But we have all our other options too, right? The sweep families, everything we could do here. You see, I just have control of directly on her hip instead of her collar. So again, I'm here. Go here. I try to flip. I can't. I bring her foot up. I stretch. I angle her body. And guys, remember, she's trying to face me right now. That is why I'm able to do this, because her spine is misaligned. If she stays the other way, she's going to just give me her back. So she has to face me with her head. You see, she's trying to face me. So now I pull. I put my foot to the stomach. I'm here, and now I punch. You see? So I felt like when I was doing it before, she wasn't trying to face me as much. So it felt a little awkward to do. Now that she faced me, she falls so easy. And you're going to learn what happens if they don't try to face me. Okay, that's what I'm going to show you after. But right now what you see is every time she tries to face me, her body collapses because her spine is misaligned with herself, right? That is what's happening. And we're playing it identical as the shoulder. We pull the shoulder forward and then we push. Right? It's identical. So we're here. I try to flip. She sits. I turn, I stretch. I get to this spot here. She's trying to face me. I get to the ASIS. I'm going to pull it to me. I'm going to pull her hip to me. I'm going to push, and then I'm going to punch. Now she falls. My foot is right on the hip stomach. I push down. I have 2 frames here, pushing her body down. You see? So before, I would be on the collar, and I would push her down with my foot on the ASIS. My new frames in this spot is my hand on this ASIS, my foot on her stomach, and my hand on the ankle. Those are all the frames, plus the De La Riva, of course. But those are all my frames I'm using in this spot now. Okay, so other side, please. So I'm here. I'll try to flip, I can't. I just bring the ankle up. I bring the ankle up and I bring my knee to my head. Look, 1. I stretch. I chop the foot. I get the foot. Now I go on my elbow, you see? When I'm on my elbow, I'm able to turn her ankle more. I get my hand to the ASIS. She tries to face me. So I pull the hip to me. I pull. I put my foot on her stomach. Now I punch. I end up right in this spot here. Look when I end up. Look right where I end up. My hand is framing correctly. My foot is here. My other foot is here. I have how many frames right now? 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the De La Riva. So I have 4 frames. I'm super safe here, guys. You see? So I hope you're starting to see how doing one thing will bait the other. And baiting is one of my favorite things to do in jiu-jitsu. So I love getting to this spot. I'll bait the overhead to do this. And maybe the overhead will work. That's why you have to be good at all of them to get to the spot that you like, right? I bait the overhead. She has to put her weight on her butt. If you notice, sometimes she's having a hard time even getting her weight to her butt because the overhead is so strong. So she has to anchor. Then the second she does, she compromises her whole lower part of her leg. Once the lower part of her leg is exposed, I'm able to torque it in. And knee torquing is the best thing to do in De La Riva sometimes, because the second we're able to torque the person's knee in and we can change their angle of their foot, their spine is misaligned. Once their spine is misaligned, they expose so many things, sweeping, taking the back, so many options, right? So here, I go to flip, I can't. I bring her knee to her stomach, I stretch. I end up right here. I move my hand to the ASIS in front of me, never around here. If I do, I'm gonna get smashed because I have no frame and my spine is misaligned. I want you to actually, when you're drilling this, try grabbing somewhere over there. You're gonna feel how weak your spine feels. You're gonna feel like you're like this. So you always grab right in front of you. So now my spine is aligned with itself, it's strong. So I'm on the ASIS, I pull it. I pull the grip, I put my foot to the stomach. She tries to face me, I stretch. When I finally sweep her, first I'm pulling the grip. When I finally sweep her, I stretch my arm and I stretch my foot on her stomach. That's what makes her body fall, you see? And now I'm ending up right here. So again, I'm here. I go to flip her. I can't. Knee to the chest, I stretch. I get to this spot. I grab the ASIS. My fist right on her hip bone. You see? She tries to face me. I put the foot on her hip, I pull. As I pull, I bring my knees to my chest a little bit. Now I stretch. Now she falls. We end up right here. So now what you're learning is a new way to play De La Riva. And you're seeing how your understanding of holding the collar grip is going to teach you how to grab the hip grip. If you didn't understand how to hold the collar grip, this might be confusing for you, how to play with the hip grip. But because you understand frames, you understand how to angle your body, you understand how to keep distance, how to pull it in, how to change sides, how to anchor it, the hip grip will feel exactly the same, but maybe even easier because of your knowledge of the collar. Again, this way. We're here. I go to flip, I can't. Knee to chest, stretch. I grab the ASIS right in front of her. I put my fist on her leg. I pull it, I pull. Once I get here, I bring my knees to my chest, I stretch. If she stays up, I take her back, or I'm gonna do other options before. So she has to face me. Now, once I get here, I keep my pressure here, and now I have the De La Riva. So again. So the person on top, the reaction is gonna be like this. They try to lift me, I keep my weight on my butt. All my weight, so now my knee turns in, and my foot's chopped. Now I got my hip. So for this one, I have to try to face her here. If I don't, I'm based wrong, right? I'm gonna be exposing my back or something else, yes. So they have to face you, because once they face you, they could defend possibly the back. And now once it happens, now she can put her foot here and sweep me. You see? So that's the reaction to the person drilling on top. So stand up, please. I'm here. I try to flip, I can't. I bring the knee, I stretch. I connect to the ASIS. I get right here. Once I get here, she's trying to face me. I pull the hip, I pull. I bring the hip to me. Now I stretch and punch the hip down. Okay? So I'm gonna want you guys to drill it just like this. One person making the grip, the other person practicing their base, trying to stay up. You're trying to flip the person. I want you to really try to flip the person. And I want that person to defend. The mastery of the section before is what's going to make this position so easy. Because once you master the section before, you'll be able to feel the person will have to sit like this. They literally have to. There's nowhere else they can put their weight to defend the overhead sweep. So once they sit like they did before, then it's going to be so easy to get them to this spot. And then once you get them to this spot, there's so many different variables and things that we can add in later series that I'm going to have you guys work. But for now, we're just going to practice angle changing the foot. Trapping the foot under your butt will be a little weird at first. But once you learn how to angle it, it's going to feel so easy to do it natural. Then you're going to learn how to play with the hip grip just like the collar grip, okay? So I want you to work this now, and then you'll be ready to go on to the next concept in the series. Okay guys, so now we're going to get into the first lesson of back exposure in this series. So I've explained to you many times back exposure from the person's butt on the floor when they're posting a hand. But I haven't explained to you back exposure when the person's hips remain off the floor. You're going to learn what we call the baby bolo now. And this is going to be because I tried this with my opponent. I can't get to the sweep. Now I can expose the back. Now, these two concepts will work interchangeably in Jiu-Jitsu. Trying to sweep the opponent, they don't want to give the sweep, they give the back. Trying to take the back of the opponent, they don't want to give the back, they give the sweep. But what do they do when they give the sweep instead of giving their back? What are they doing? They're facing you. So every time she faces me, she can give the sweep by putting her butt to the floor. Then you get into our sweep systems, or back takes from the berimbolo system. You can even attack the feet. All the things remain the same. Now, we already learned how controlling the ASIS will be identical to playing with the cross collar grip. How our spine needs to be aligned with our body when we make this grip. If we don't, our bodies will be put off with each other, and you'll feel significantly weaker. Your frame on that ASIS, directly on the bone. Soft tissue versus bone. Always bone. That actually creates a wall, a frame on the body. So we need to make our fort just like we did before. Always, you grab right in front of you. Always creating a fort. Always making your frames correct right in front of you. Okay. Our body placement is so important. Our opponent's body placement is so important. When we align our spine with ourselves, we're able to alter their body. We're able to create this thing where their body's spine and balance is off. So once it's off, we're in the perfect spot for back exposure. We're in the perfect spot for their balance to be off, right? Because when their spine's misaligned with their body, they're weak as well. So we're playing the concept on top and bottom, right? Now we're going to be going for the sweep, but our opponent doesn't want to give the sweep. So what is going to happen? Following our rules of sweep versus taking the back, we're going to be able to take the back. It's just because our opponent will not put their hips to the floor. They're not going to face us this time. If they did, they would fall. So we're going to end up there, and they're not going to face us. So let's begin. So I'm going to be in De La Riva. I'm going to go to De La Riva like so. My foot is going to be aligned with her shoulder. So my head is in this angle. I'm going to keep saying this the whole time because I want you to perfect your hip placement to create your wall, your fort. I go into the De La Riva. My foot is on the ASIS. I'm holding the collar. I begin to try to flip her. To go here, I cannot flip her. So I try to flip her, I can't, right? So what does that mean? That means all her weight's on her butt, her weight on her knee is weak. So all I do is I bring her leg up, I take her foot off the floor. I'm going to stretch and bring her foot under my butt. You see? I hope from the last video you understand now how to do this. It's so important in trapping the foot in the other direction, you see? So now what am I going to do? I'm going to sit up on my elbow. I'm going to grab the hip grip, but especially a certain spot on the hip, the ASIS. We're going right on the bone. Now, once we go on the bone, we're going to try to pull and sweep our opponent. But notice, my opponent is not facing me anymore. What is the rules of facing? If they face me, they fall. Come back up. Now, when she's here, let me get your foot in like this. Now when she's here, she's not facing me. She's staying with her spine strong by staying that direction. So you see, I cannot move her because she has balance now. And why does she have balance? Because it's our rules of balance. She's staying with her spine strong. She's facing where her feet face instead of facing me where she falls. Face me quickly. Look how she has no balance when she faces me. So now, come back to this. So now what I'm going to do is attack the back. So I'm here, I turn her foot, I move her foot, I turn it in. I get the hip grip like so. I want to sweep her this way, I can't, she's facing the other way. So what am I going to do? I'm going to either keep my foot on the hip and stretch my leg, or I'm going to step on the mat. Both are valid options. Both are ways for us to get our foot to the other leg. Why are we going to the other leg? If I just go here and go to control this leg, she could still move around me. This hip is still free to open up. Her knee might open up. But when I'm here, if I go to here and move your leg, I'm able to keep her leg on this side of my body, right? It's very important you understand my knee here is still as a frame on her body. My foot here is still protecting me. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to control the leg.
I have a question here.
Yes.
Is it possible that you could get knee barred here?
That's why I said my knee is protecting me.
Oh, okay.
If my knee went inside her body, she could expose me and go for a knee bar. So when I'm here and I'm hooking, notice how my knee stays on this part of her body. Go for a knee bar. Because my knee is this direction, you see? So I'm safe from that attack. All I'm going to do now is underhook her leg and make a grip like this. I learned underhooking the leg here from Professor Kyle Terra. And why do I underhook the leg here? If I go like this, it's easier for her to square up with me and frame her body. When I keep the underhook, I have more strength on her leg to keep her body this direction. Okay? So I keep my knee here, I hook the leg, I place my foot on her knee like so. Once I do this, I'm going to square my hips up. And now I'm going to grab double hip grips. If I grabbed in the middle of her body, change one direction and change side. No, fall down and she can move her hips in multiple directions. Do it to me so I can explain it. Just grab one in the middle. Look how when she's on one here, look how my hip can move. Because she has no control of my hips. Look how my hip could change sides and move around her. And you'll actually see this happen so many times in Jiu-Jitsu. Look, so every time she's like this, she's not controlling any part of my hips, the bones of my hips. Look how I can move my body. Look how I can come around her. She's not framing me anymore. So when she's here, she grabs both on the sides of my body. Here. Now watch, I'm going to try to go side to side. She's just going to frame. Look, 1, 2. I can't go either way now. You see, so come up now. So you see how the middle hip grip, which is always taught by people, the person's hips can move. That's why it's not the best grip to do here when we get to this attack. We grab double hip grips on the sides of their body. Then they can't fall. Their hips are stuck up. We're framing their hips at the same time. It's exactly our concept before frames. If I'm holding the middle, I have no frames on her. She could drop her hips, she could bring her hips into me. So when I have the double hips, I'm completely framing her body, okay? So again, I'm here. I'm here. I try to flip her. Look, if I can, I'm going to flip her. So I try to flip, I can't. I bring her knee up, I bring her ankle up. Knees to chest, I stretch, chopping her foot under my body. I go on my elbow, I control the ASIS. She's not facing me anymore, she's staying that direction. So that means her spine is strong. She has balance because she's not facing me. So all I'm going to do is stretch my leg, step on the floor, or keep my foot on her body. So put your weight on your legs. If she's like this, look how I can just move my body around her. Now, put your weight more in your hands and remove my foot from your hip. Yes. It depends on basically if she's pushing me or if she lets me go around her. Now I just step on the floor, I hook the leg, I move my body to this side. You see, my knee is protected. It's not inside her body. Because if my knee line is out, there's no exposure for footlocks. I'm going to underhook the leg like so. I'm going to put my hook in. Once I put my hook in, I'm going to square my hips to her. Why am I squaring my hips to her? Once I square my hips to her, my spine is aligned with her. I have full strength now. I control both hips, so she cannot roll either direction. You see, she cannot roll either direction. I have frames on her. Now I bring her butt to my stomach. I go here. Now I'm going to stretch her down to bring her here. Once I bring her here, I'm going to establish my control. I have the double collars, seat belt, one hook in, and take the back. Again. I'm here. I go to flip her, I can't. I bring her knee up, I stretch. I move her foot under my body. I'm gonna control the ASIS. I'm gonna step on the floor, I'm gonna stretch my foot to the other hip, like so. So now I have a De La Riva hook on this hip, and it's bringing her to me. You see? I'm able to pull it to bring it to me, and she's gonna be pulling her body away. And as she's pulling away, it's gonna help me move like an anchor. You see? So two things can happen here. Come back square. Come back square a little bit. Two things can happen here. One, her leg will move and come to me. Two, I try to move it and I can't. That means she's putting weight on her leg. The same rule as before. As when I taught you the overhead knee cut, I can either move her, or if I can't move her, that means there's an anchor. Every time they anchor themselves, we move around them with the anchor. They create this weight on them that we push off of to move around them. That's what I'm doing when I circle around her body. I try to pull her to me. I make her feel like I'm pulling her to me. She puts more weight on her leg like this. The second I feel the anchor happen, that's when I can circle around her easy because she's putting her weight on her leg. You see? And that is why I'm able to move around her so easy. It isn't ability of hip escaping. It isn't anything like that. It's just I'm using her weight against her, always. That's what I'm always doing in Jiu-Jitsu. I found a spot that her weight is weak, then I go around it, okay? Either she makes her base with the anchor, or she keeps it on her arms. Then her legs are light. I can move her leg, or I move to her leg. Either or, we're getting to the same spot, you see? But understanding that concept will make your path to that spot so much easier. Okay, so we're here. I'm in De La Riva. I try to flip, I can't. I bring the knee to the chest. I stretch. I get her foot to this angle. I control the ASIS. I go here. I start pulling her leg to me. If I can, I'll go here and pull her leg to me. One. If I can't pull her leg to me. She's making her leg heavy. Look. Now look, I can move my body. Do you see the difference? So, come back to this way. I think you'll see better at this angle. Here. So here. I want you to see what I'm doing. So I get the deep De La Riva. I do this. Either one. Let me do the first one. Please put your weight on your arms. Just bend a little bit. Yes. You see what just happened? You see, I said put your weight on your arms, and the second she did, her leg moved. Why? Because her legs are light because her weight's on her arms. People do both in competition, always. Because they're going to try pushing this leg off, so look how her leg moves. You see? Now she's going to take her weight off of her arms, and she's just going to put it on her legs. Now I'm going to try to move her leg. I can't move her leg now, right? But what does that mean I can do? I can move myself around her. So go back. Put your weight on your legs more this time. So I try to move your, this. Look. So I'm here, look what I do. I just move around her. And I want you to notice something else I do here a lot. If I'm moving around her, I make this grip on her calf and I post my elbow on the floor. This gives me momentum to move around her. So when she has her weight on her arms, her leg moves. It's very light to move her leg. Her leg moves. It's very light to move her leg. You put weight on your legs when I said to put your weight on your arms. So when she puts her weight on her arms, her leg is going to be very light to move. Yes, there you go.
It was hard if I don't have anything to grip.
Yes, and now she's putting weight on her legs. And her arms are up. So now her weight all on this leg. You see, how can I move this? Now I move around her. That's what I'm trying to explain. So we're here. And I go here. I lift, I turn, I angle. I go here. I step on the floor to move her. I try to move, her weight's right now on her arm, so I'm probably going to be able to move her leg. So go back. Put your weight on your legs. No, so just posture up. Now your weight's on your legs. All I do is this. If I want to go around her, I can put my hand right on her knee with my elbow on the floor. Now look what I can do. Keep your weight on your legs, please. I can angle myself like this. So square up, back up more. So go back the other way. Move your leg back more. So I hold the knee, put my elbow on the floor, and look what I do. You see how I can move my body now off of the weight of her legs, the anchor on her legs. That is how I can get around her if she puts her weight on her legs. A lot of people will put their weight on their legs here. They'll straighten and flex their legs. So bring your leg back. I just want them to see how I move my hips. So move your leg one more back. Yeah. So I try to move her leg. I can't, right? I just put my elbow. I just put my hand under her knee like so. Now I'm just going to pull the hip. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to spin around her. Watch. You see how I'm able to move around her body now? Now I can get the underhook grip on her leg. I can put my hook in, square my body. Getting here. Then you put one hand on the floor. Now I connect my hands to her hips. If I feel like, I can even put my elbows on the mat here with my palms on her legs. put your weight on me. You see, there's no weight on me now. You see? So now all I can do is stretch and take it back. But guys, that concept is so important of me either bringing the person to me or going around them. It's so important there, okay? So stand up, please. I'm here. I can flip her. Awesome. I can't flip her. Knee to chest, I stretch. I end up here. I get the hip grip, ASIS. I step on the floor. So her weight's on her arm, she's pushing down my leg, she's fighting me here. So I stretch, I pull her leg to me. I try to get here to grab. So go back, please. Now I'm here, I'm trying to pull her leg to me, I can't. Her weight's on her leg. So all I do is this, I use the momentum, I stretch, I flex my foot on the De La Riva. So let's just move this way. No, back one more time. Just move your body back to the wall. Yes. Now they can see. So I flex my foot in the De La Riva. That helps me get momentum to move. When I flex my foot, keep your weight on your legs. Flex my foot, I control the knee. I pull this grip, and now look what's going to happen to my hips. I push, and then I pull around. So we'll go back. Bring your leg back, please. I push, I go around. I push, I go around. All I'm doing is flexing my foot, crunching my body to move her. So I flex my foot, I pull this, I'm hanging. Just like before with the collar grip, I'm hanging. I control the knee, and now I'm gonna flex my core, crunching and go around. Here. You see, so here, I flex, I grab the knee, I move around her. I flex the knee, I go around her. I end up here. Once I end up here, I control the bottom leg, underhooking. I put my hook in. I end up in this spot here. I go here. I grab the grips. I stretch your body. Take the back. Here. Here. You're not going to initially base like that though. I'm going to go to flip you and then you sit down.
Okay.
I go to flip, she sits to defend. So I go to flip, she sits to defend. I bring the knee to the chest, I stretch. I grab the hip grip. I step on the floor, the hook, and bring her leg to me. 1. Now she defends that. Now I'm here, look, yeah, now she's defending it, I feel it. I feel tension in her legs. I just pull the grip, I put my hand on her knee like so, and I go around her. Now I get the leg here. Once I get here, I try to put my hook in. But this could be hard for some people if you need flexibility, so come back square. I'm going to show you an alternative if it's too hard for you to put your hook in initially. When you're here, if it's hard for you, angle yourself to the wall so they can see. If I'm here and it's hard for me to put my hook in initially because I'm too close to her head, all I'm going to do is this. I'm going to use my knee like so. I'm going to use my other knee like so. Go back. Look how I'm able to move her foot back using this wedge on her body. So I just do this. 1. So bring your foot back, bring it higher up. If you feel like it's too hard to put your hook in here, all I do is I use my knee on her leg, I bring my hook in like this. My hook just hooks her leg like this, and I'm just using both knees like this. I just make like this wedge on her knee, and I just push it back. You see, look how much space I have now. Once I create this space, look what I can do. Foot could come in, I square up. Now she's here. She's here, I keep the frames on her hips. So now I don't let her stomach just sit on my stomach, you see? I keep her body off of me, using my knees on her hips, my hands on her hips, and the palms of my hands. Once I get here, I can stretch her body and take the back. So again, I'm here. Go to lift, I turn her knee. Angle myself, I step around. See, I can step around, I'm going to bring my foot here. And even if she has her weight on her legs here, I don't have to hug the knee. It's just an alternative if I feel they're really far around. So bring her back, yes. So I'm here, I'm trying to go around her. I can even do this to move myself. You see, I can put my palm on her leg the same way, but an alternative is holding the knee like this. I do both, okay? I just want to give you 2 options here. So there's no questioning, oh, what should I do? If the person's very long legs and they're far away, you just go to the knee and you could go around them really fast. Or you could just stay on the ankle and do the same thing, palm like this though. Every time I'm doing this, my palm is just cupping either or and hanging. You see, once their weight's on their legs. They're in like a deadlift base, right? So I'm here, and I go around her, left my palm. Go back. Go back more, please. Here, my palm. I go around. I end up here. There's not enough space. I underhook, I frame the knee. Look what I just did. And this is fine if my leg goes here for a second, right? Because if she holds this leg at all, my knee is still not in. So now I just put my foot in. I end up here. I go double hips, palm, she goes to her hand. I stretch her body. Now I can go to the back. Again. Again, this is the first back take in all of everything, the baby bolo. It's so important to understand baby bolo. And everyone can do baby bolo. This is one position that everyone will be able to do. You see, I even gave you an answer if the hook is too tight to put in. Just use your legs to stretch it a little bit, and now you can put the leg in, right? So we're here. We're here. I go to a flip, I can't. Need a chest stretch. I go right here. Step on the floor, I hook. I move her body. Once I get here, I control the underhook. I create the wedge here to move her body back. So go back. If I just use my knee like this, it might be hard. But when I do this, I hook her knee, I just stretch. Look how I can make space now. Now I can put my foot in. Once I put my foot in, I square my hips. Something I see a lot of people try to do. They try to take their back like this. Look, I'm pulling her hip the wrong way. That's why I have to square on top of her. I have to square my hips, always. So I square my hips. I bring her weight here. Once I bring her weight here, I have the frames on her body. You see, now I'm here. I'm gonna control her hips. I'm gonna stretch. Once I stretch, I'm gonna take the back. In. I'm here. Stretch, I get the hip grip. I go around her. I get the far leg. I'm gonna frame her leg. Put the hook in. Bring my hooks here. I'm gonna get to this spot here. I'm gonna keep her hip up. I'm gonna keep framing the legs. Now I'm gonna stretch her body. And I'm gonna take it back. So now we're using their base against them. They're not facing us. Okay, we're just gonna play guard in the direction they're facing. Whichever way they wanna face us, no problem. They wanna face us, we're gonna sweep them. If they don't wanna face us anymore, we're gonna take their back, you see? And we're giving her the dilemma. We're giving her the option. She doesn't wanna face us, no problem. We're gonna take the back with her hips up. She wants to face us, great. Her spine is now misaligned with her body. We're gonna sweep her. Always, this is going to happen. And I hope you're still practicing that drill of their knees are on their chest, pushing the ankle in and trapping it is so important, this drill right here.
Okay.
No, just squat. This drill. This drill. You see how I'm able to keep chopping it? Let me change sides. This drill. This drill. You see how I keep chopping her foot every time? That is what I'm able to do, and that's so important that you guys understand this. The weight on the butt, we're able to do this. This is going to change your berimbolo so much. Okay, so I'm here. Do the drill, I get here. I get the ASIS, I get to this spot here. I step on the floor if I want. I step, I hook. Once I hook, I try to pull the leg. If I can't, that means I could glide. I just put my hand on and glide. I end up here. My foot goes here, I frame the leg. Once I get here, I connect my hook in. I square my hips. Once I square my hips, I get her body right here. Once I get my body here, guys, this is all I'm doing. I'm just gonna stretch my hooks. I'm gonna put her butt under me, connecting my hips to her hips, which we learned in the rules of berimbolo, right? This is a type of berimbolo. Here, you see? Now my hips are connected to her hips. My head is above her head. Now I'm able to take the back here. And this is how berimbolo was honestly created. What I heard was it was initially created from people doing baby bolo. When they went for baby bolo, people would defend by falling in the baby bolo. Then berimbolo started. Okay, so that, just so you have the background of how even berimbolo started. Everyone was taking the back with the butt off the floor. People tried defending baby bolo by putting their butt to the floor, giving the sweep, but then they're also exposing their back inverted, right? Because once the butt's on the floor, we're taking the back basically the same way as if the butt's off the floor. It's just that one you're inverted, one you're not. So this is all ways you can take the back like berimbolo without inverting. You see like the difference? It's the same thing. It's just one you're inverted, one you're not, right? So again, that's why I need you guys to really understand how to do the baby bolo. It's gonna apply perfectly with berimbolo. Because for them to defend this, they have to give you berimbolo. So I'm here. What? I can't, I stretch. I get my hip grip. I go around. You see, my palm is either here or hugging here. But my palm every time is like this, you see? I get to the far leg. I frame this leg. I make the grip on her leg to move her foot down my body. Now I can put my hook in. I square my hips. I get here. I don't let her weight go on top of me. So I keep her like this. I'm here. I get my elbows now on the floor. I stretch her body. Once I get here, I establish seatbelt control. Okay, so again. 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 So now you guys are seeing how we're putting all our positions together. Now you're learning a system for playing basically how you're playing on the collar, but on the hip grip now, you see? You're learning how to do both at once now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the baby bolo, please, when you have the back over here? Now, are you pulling with these hands, pushing away, or what are you exactly doing with
I'm
these?
framing with these hands. I said I'm putting my palms on my body
So
like
you're just
this.
holding, let's say you're just framing, you're not pulling them towards you?
No.
And what are you doing with these legs?
I'm just flexing my feet like this and bringing my knees to my chest. That is why I'm able to stretch you.
Okay.
So you're sitting on me like a table,
Yeah.
you see? Your weight's not on me like this. You see, I'm using my hooks to keep you off of me. My knees off of me, you see? I'm using my knees on your body and my arms like this. Now put weight on me. You see how there's no way you can put weight on me? That's why I leave my knees like this. You see, once I do this, I can put my palms down and I could stretch him. You see?
Okay.
So now it's easier for me to take the back without putting weight on me.
I have another question.
Yes.
So when you go back to that position, please. So I'm leaning in this way. What if I try to go this way like this?
Now you're giving me back exposure another way. So now I can come up to take your back. So if I can't, again, it's the anchor. If I can't pull your weight this way, I go the other way. I was actually going to show that next.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no. It's the concept of, it's going to be, again, the same concepts. Everything is the same concepts in this. You're going to see that more and more. We try to pull them to us. We can't pull them to us. We go to them. You see? That's all we do in jiu-jitsu over and over and over. So it's a good question because that's literally the next thing, but it's literally what we do everywhere, right? Like you just learned in pulling the leg. We try to pull the leg to us. We can't. We go to it. We try to pull our hips to us. We can't. We go to it. So that's what I'm constantly doing everywhere, you know? And the baby bolo here, someone will say, oh, what if the person's heavier than you and you go here? I've done this on people at 250 pounds, and they tried to sit on my stomach there. If you put your knees framing and your hands framing, they won't be able to sit on you there, you see? So it's safe. It's completely safe because you have these two frames on their hips, you have your other frames on your hips, so you have like 4 frames on them. There's no danger in that spot, right? So that's what, so stand up just so they see that. Because I know some people in seminars always ask me that, oh, what if the person's bigger than you? If my knees are like this, you see how my knees are on her butt? My palms are on her butt. Could you put any weight on me right now?
No.
See, so I'm safe from her pressure of her body. That is why when I'm here, I could stretch her down. You see? That is why I'm able to do that. So I want you to work this now. I want you to work the person facing you, you sweep them. I want you to work the person, when you're going to sweep them, they stay the other way. Then you take the back. Then I want you to work you adding in both. So you start going for the baby bolo, the person tries to face you, you sweep them. I want you to put them both together now. And I want the drilling partner to keep reacting with both answers to the position. Oh, face me this time. Oh, keep your weight strong. And they can keep their weight strong only if they don't face you, because it's our rules of balance. Their spine is facing one way. They have to face that way in order to be strong and balanced. If they don't, they're gonna fall. That is why we're giving them this dilemma. I'm giving them the dilemma of choosing which one they'll do. Face me, awesome. I'm gonna sweep you. Stay the other way, awesome. I'm gonna take your back. And we don't decide what they do. They decide what we do. They are going to give us the choice. We don't force anything. We never force anything in this series. We're just going to go with whatever they give. I try to flip her. She puts her weight on her hips. We turn her knee in. Not forcing at all, right? We're just going with whatever position they give us. So I want you to work this now, combining in the sweep and the back take, okay? So let's work this.